So all of these right-wing podcasters now are doing this shtick where they're pretending to turn against Donald Trump as Donald Trump's polling is plummeting, as the American people are turning against Trump and MAGA, and they're pissed off at the cover-up of the Epstein files and masked agents running wild across the street, terrorizing Americans. You've got people like Andrew Schultz from the Flagrant podcast, some of the people who were like promoting Trump and MAGA and having him on with no pushback at all right before the 2024 election. They're now singing a very different tune, and they're saying, if you look at what's actually happening with ICE, they're not even going after the bad guys, and Trump's covering up the Epstein files. Here, let's play this first clip.
If you see it with your own eyes, you know exactly what happened. And there's something disgusting that's happening, not only in Minneapolis, I'm sure it's happening in other parts of the United States, where it's ICE is under the guise of security, right? Under the guise of safety, because that's what they're doing, right? Is every time something horrific happens, they keep going, but look at the pedophiles we got. Look at the murderers we got. Look at all the violent criminals we got. I looked at the numbers. 5% of the people they deported are violent criminals.
Yes.
There's probably more pedophiles in the Oval Office.
Exactly. Exactly. If you bring up another fucking pedophile about deporting and you're not releasing the Epstein list, just shut the fuck up, all of you.
Yes.
I don't want to hear anything else about, we got to deport the pedophiles. They're right here.
Yeah.
They're right here. They're a list of them.
Yeah, you could go a step further that the White House is covering up a child sex trafficking ring. And it's not really a laughing matter. I mean, y'all had the guy on your show and gave no pushback and allowed him to spew his propaganda who's covering up a child sex trafficking ring. I mean, do you want to take any responsibility for that? And then they try to play let's just be very clear here. ICE is doing things objectively. This should even be a political thing. What ICE is doing, it's just really bad. And we should all come together and realize that now. Here, play this clip.
They're doing things that objectively, I don't care which side of the aisle you're on, objectively are unconstitutional. So no matter which side of the aisle on, you would like to uphold the Constitution a little bit, right? Like you can't go enter someone's home without a warrant, and not some like federal administrative bullshit warrant that they're trying to like skirt around it.
Yeah.
You cannot enter someone's home without an actual warrant. I think it's like the
Judicial Amendment
It's the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, and they're just entering homes. Dude, I saw them arrest somebody for having an accent. And the ICE agent that arrested him had an accent.
Yeah,
Did you see that video? And the guy was like, you got an accent too.
Where are you from?
But let's remember, it was Flagrant podcast, Joe Rogan and others that were laundering Trump, MAGA, and the right-wing oligarchy, and they were using their audiences that they had built up over many years. And at that time, right before the 2024 election, they turned very political and told people essentially to vote for MAGA and vote for Trump against the interests of their own audience. And they would bring on these right-wing oligarchs. I mean, you had Joe Rogan, who would bring on Elon Musk, who would say, Social Security is a big Ponzi scheme. Social Security is the worst thing ever. Here, play this clip.
Well, I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately.
Then you can bring in over here Mark Zuckerberg on Theo Von. Here's what they had to say. Let's play it.
You have an underground tunnel.
Do you really?
Yeah.
In USA?
This ranch in Kauai. Yeah. Where there's this whole thing where people were like, there's this whole meme about how people are saying I built this like bunker underground. It's like more of underground.
And I always hate these comparisons when people were always trying to say to me, like, Ben, you're like the Joe Rogan of the left. And I'm like, I'm not the Joe Rogan of the left. I do a very different thing here than Joe Rogan does. I'm trying to report on the news objectively, sometimes with a sense of humor, but I'm trying to get out the actual facts and objective truth. But, there's somebody else out there who, corporate news tried to say, this is the Joe Rogan of the left. And I never like those types of comparisons, but there is somebody, who has been having this big podcast platform, reporting truthfully and calling out in a humorous way also, these MAGA podcasters. And there's a group of MAGA podcasters called the Nelk Boys, and they rose through like the YouTube ranks doing prank videos originally, and they got a podcast. And they're one of the biggest offenders they've had. I think they're Canadian also. They would have like J.D. Vance on and Benjamin Netanyahu on with no pushback at all, and they would promote these individuals to their audience and like encourage the horrific behavior. And so I want to show you over here, though. This is the podcaster by the name of Adam Friedland. You probably have seen his work. He's incredibly funny. He's got a great podcast that you should all listen to. But Adam Friedland, not afraid to confront these right-wing podcasters. Watch as he was on a show and he was confronting this group called the Nelk Boys. And the Nelk Boys are one of these MAGA podcasters who have promoted Trump and MAGA and J.D. Vance and all the right-wing oligarchy and Netanyahu. Here, play this clip.
It's sometimes I'm doing a podcast. It's just a podcast, but you don't realize that there's like a gravity there. There are powerful people wanting access to your fucking platform that have an agenda. It's just like when I was asking about like Zuckerberg, right? His stock plummets when he's like doing the censorship around COVID, and then everyone's like, "You're anti-free speech Democrat," and then he puts a chain against muscles, and then his stock goes back up. But like it's this everyone that says you're an anti-free speech Democrat is like, "No, you're sick because you do bow and arrow." But he's like he's going on podcasts now because it's his stock price. It's an advantage for them, and
they're using you guys. They're using you guys to look good.
Everywhere we went, they said go away. Everywhere we went, they were killed. It sounds a lot like the Palestinians because they are people that are dispossessed, and everywhere they go, they get killed. And if we can't see ourselves in that, it's a shanda.
Adam, I'm going to tell you something really quick. I don't agree with Netanyahu. I disagree with a lot of things he's doing. I think he's acting. It doesn't matter.
Adam Friedland goes, "You collabed with him." And then the Nelk Boys like, "It doesn't matter that we collabed with him. It's just a show. It's just a show." I want to bring in Adam Friedland, host of the Adam Friedland Show. Adam, it's great to see you, but this is what these right-wing podcasters do when they're confronted. They do very serious things that actually have significant impacts on people's lives and huge consequences. Then when you kind of confront them with it, they go back with, "I'm just a comedian. It's just a show. I was just being funny." And so what do you make of all that?
Well, I never got the call. So, I mean, I'm open for business. I host the Adam Friedland Show. So if any nation state is interested, China, any of the Gulf states, I'm still waiting on declaring my loyalty anywhere. So yeah, and the DNC never gave me my call, really. So it's just these gentlemen are much more successful. So no, in reality, I think that what you're not really seeing is that the right has just taken advantage of the internet better. I think that's the truth. I think that the internet is a much better kind of place for the right wing because you can say whatever you want on the internet. If you're a progressive, there's a lot of things you can't say, and that's why they're slowly taking advantage of these podcasting platforms and massive audiences that have accrued online.
What do you make of it right now, though, that you're seeing? To me, it looks like a phony shtick because, I don't know if they're worried that they're losing audience share or whatever it is. But, now they basically say, well, Trump's covering up the Epstein files. Look how horrible they're, all true. I mean, look how horrible it is. ICE on the streets, masked agents. Of course.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm a comedian. I think that society, it's kind of probably a danger for society that we place so much value in the voice of comedians. The truth is the size of the platforms are so big at this point, they eclipse that of the actual media. So if, 1 million people are watching Anderson Cooper every night, probably 10 times as many people are watching Rogan. But for me personally, anyone's welcome to do whatever they want. And for me personally, I just try to be very careful about only speaking from a position of authority about something I know. I remember during COVID, I would see the comedians talking about, public health, disease transmission rates, and we talk about having boners on stage. I mean, nothing qualified. We're not the media, right? So for me personally, like I have on my own platform, like I try to only speak from a position of authority in ways that I can, right? And just to keep in mind that I don't want to be a comedian that claims to know everything. So that's why. But what I've found is like if I have a politician on the show, for instance, all right, I could ask them about HR 732s, blah blah blah. I could do the homework right before I meet them and purport to be an expert, but I'm not. I'm not a very. I'm an idiot. So what I do instead is like you find questions that I do feel comfortable asking. So I say like, for instance, like, well, no one likes the government now. So why do you want to be in the government? That's a bigger picture question that I think, get a more interesting answer out of a guest from. But like, so that's it's. I think what you're seeing is like you want to like. You can't necessarily say that this is all Schultz's fault or this is all the Nelk boys' fault. I think this is something that's a product of just the way that content is being disseminated now and the way that people are consuming it. For me personally, like people, again, it's the internet. You can say whatever you want. So for me personally, I want to be careful about how I present myself as a comedian. But I mean, like we talk about. We talk about. I pooped my pants once on a podcast. I mean, like, I'm not. I'm not like. I'm not Wolf Blitzer. Okay, and so I think it's easy to cherry pick and just to look at these things on a case by case basis. But what's more important is to see that the right was better at kind of taking advantage of this platform and the way that people are actually consuming content, and then B, from on another level that like you're listening to a comedian, and you should take that information, and view that information within that context. I think that's probably the better way of thinking.
I mean, you and I are around the same age. I mean, when I grew up, the role of the comedian or the role of, whoever is just to kind of stand up, not stand up, but like call it out or be skeptical and to talk about or joke about the kind of the absurdity at all. And oftentimes the biggest hypocrisy and the biggest absurdity often is in those who have the most power, because for them to seize that power, they've usually have engaged in some horrible behavior to do it. But at what point is the power capturing the comedian, or the Nelk boys or the whoever, and using them as a tool to kind of launder the right wing oligarchy stuff? I mean, you bring on, not you, but a Nelk boys or a Rogan or a Theo Von. You bring on a Zuckerberg, and Zuckerberg's intention is a PR makeover to launder all the stuff that he wants to do.
He looks awesome. He's like jacked. He's jacked now. He's got a chain, and he grew his hair out. So the makeover was phenomenal, Mark. If you're watching, I think you look great.
And so it's look over here while we fire tens of thousands of workers, while we put out certain AI products and chatbots that could actually end up harming young people, that we can manipulate algorithms to kind of fry the minds of the youth and create a lot of dangerous situations. So, but it's palatable when it goes on Theo Von or when it goes on Nelk, and there's no pushback to it at all.
Well, they have big platforms. I mean, the left could very easily be taking advantage of these platforms as well, and they don't. And I think that, I mean, if anything, if you want to think about it, like Donald Trump, used the internet during the election and it kind of legitimized the platform. And so you could say what you want. Yes, of course, there is a profit incentive if Mark Zuckerberg's going on. I mean, like, I remember those congressional hearings when he was talking about during COVID when, his stock price plummeted and then he goes on Rogan and there's a rebrand. I mean, this is just a kind of a product of the way the world is now, I guess. What the fuck do I know? But yeah, I think instead of thinking of it as like, yeah, these people have massive platform. I mean, the Nelk boys do chugging and they do pranks and stuff, and then Netanyahu's going on it in the middle of a genocide. I mean, I think if you look at what the world is these days, it's kind of insane if you think of it in that context to go on like a chugging handles of Tito's and doing pranks platform to promote the state of Israel in the middle of the horrific Gaza conflict. I mean, but that's what the world is now, I guess. So, for me personally, like I just that's what I'm seeing, and that's really, to me, that's funny. But yeah, I mean, there has to be. I think you have a massive platform as well. You have people on, and I think you handle it responsibly. From what you were saying, and but it's the internet. I mean, you could really do and say whatever you want. And that's really been the right's advantage there. Because you could lie, you could say a slur, you could say anything online. So I think instead of analyzing the platforms, I think those people are just useful. But I think we have to be seeing what the people in power are doing, and that's.
Look at what the people in power do. I mean, look, on any given day, I could show you a message like this because Trump does 100 messages like this a day, and I'm not even exaggerating. He probably posts 100, 200 messages like this is from this morning. I don't even care what the words say. Just pull it up, Salty, just so you can physically see what this message looks like. And it says like Jerome, too late, Powell again. Just like, okay, just observe that. I don't even care what the words are because it's utterly insane. There's capital letters. He's screaming at the chairman of the Federal Reserve who he wants to arrest. We've become so numb as a society that the president of the United States is posting things that if anybody else in your world sent you a text message like that this morning, you'd probably be like, yo, like this person's like unwell and sick. Yet we just moved past it. And that's just the president being that's an odd state though, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I mean, I think beyond that, like, I mean, Elon really did do free speech on X, but it's scary. It's too scary. I mean, like, I do think the recent killings in Minnesota, I think we are desensitized because you can see people getting killed on X every day. Yeah, I mean, he's acting like someone, he's acting like someone that didn't get invited on vacation, saw pictures on Facebook of all their friends having Mai Tais or something. I mean, but this is par for the course also for how Trump acts. I mean, for him to be acting this way, it's not going very well for him. If you want to, he's having a rough one right now. So maybe that's good. I mean, maybe he's going to be posting more like Xanax wine mom kind of content.
Here's the content he's posting.
Talking about his fake friends or whatever.
It's worse than that, Adam. Here's what he's posting. Yeah. Message from the 47th POTUS. Respectfully, Ben, do you still love me? Take the poll. I'm asking
what's the answer?
With an open part. The answer is an emphatic no. I do not still love him. Never loved him. But isn't it an odd thing that they're sending? Isn't it an odd thing that type of email or message is sent to, like it's a very strange
It's
thing.
Valentine's Day. Yeah. Do you still love me? It's like, do you still beat your wife? There's no way of answering that. It sounds like you used to love him, man. I think he's got you dead to rights there. I think
and he sends those 15 times a day to his
support.
But
I get those from Kamala because she still owes money from having Beyonce. Yeah. Because she somehow spent $2.5 billion in 4 minutes running for president. I mean, campaign or like fundraising emails are annoying. Do you think he's actually do you think Trump's in the Oval Office typing that out? I have to. I don't
think he's out there typing it out, nor do I think he's out there typing out, every one of those social media posts. But I do think
probably that's more him. I think that feels more him, or dictating at least
dictating. But I think it does reflect a overall kind of pattern of What's he campaigning for? What's he running for? As you said, what is he running for election again? Is he running for the midterms? Is he running to take his money?
I don't know.
What is he running for? Because he's doing rallies right now in Iowa. Let me show you what he said at the latest rally in Iowa, where he said, China will be sending me a bill very shortly. That I think he confuses China for Congress. Here, play this clip.
And China will be sending me a bill very shortly supporting year-round E-15 to my desk very quickly, and I will sign it without delay, okay? I hope you remember us for the midterms.
I mean, just strange stuff. That's in Iowa. Saying China
He likes
sent
the
me a
rallies. You know, during COVID, we were like all the comedians, we were off the road, but he was crushing stadiums. I mean, we were all jealous. You know, he was out there killing Herman Cain. I mean, he was having a great time. I think he likes the rallies. I think that at this point, I think it's his happy place. I think he's just trying to go back there and play the hits and write a couple new tracks, maybe.
Speaking of tracks, Nicki Minaj, you saw her. She's now ultra MAGA. You see the handshake with her nails and Donald Trump's discolored hand that he claims.
I saw that. That was stunning.
Lots of handshakes, Adam. That's what it comes. Lots of handshakes and lots of aspirin.
But I think that with the pardoning system, I think she probably is just doing it for her husband, right?
And she did get a gold card, a Trump gold card that gives.
What is that?
I think she's gives you like citizenship or a pathway to if you pay $1 million or $5 million, you become a citizen now. That's how you do it.
She's not. I thought she's from Queens.
And she's undocumented. No, she didn't have documents. She was undocumented, and so
she
needed papers. And Donald Trump announced that he was giving her a gold card. Adam, talk to us about some of the guests you've got. Who was your, in terms of the recent guests? I saw you interviewed Scott Jennings, CNN.
Friend of the show. Yeah,
he goes toe to toe with Adam Mockler. Mockler's on the MeidasTouch network, and we have a 22-year-old Mockler going against Scott Jennings, and I always think Mockler does a better job. You've had Mamdani on your show. Talk to us about the show.
I don't know. The show is I do a talk show where I do like long form interviews with people, kind of in the vein of Dick Cavett. We say the set itself, we kind of created like a facsimile of the Dick Cavett show set. It's really an accident how any of this happened, but now I'm talking to politicians and celebrities, and I mean with the show itself, I try to just have a conversation. I don't know if you remember Cavett or you've seen. I don't remember it, but if you've seen any of the clips of his show, but like one thing that was really cool was he was able, through the having long form interview context, he was able to have really interesting conversations with people that we thought we knew in society. You see them through a different lens, and that's kind of what I try to do. When I have political guests, obviously, I try and I do extensive research for all of them, and so if it's a political guest, I work with like a team of researchers, and I have some journalists that we've worked with that help put packets together for me of information. But I do try to be responsible with the platform, and kind of not present myself in a way that I think is irresponsible a lot of the times these days. But yeah, it's been really fun, for me, and I found that I'm not bad at it. So
I would say you're really good at it. So it's the Adam Friedland Show on YouTube, Adam Friedland Show on any audio podcast. People should download. I loved your interview with Mom. The thing about your interviews, you let the guests speak, and
sometimes I cut them off. People don't like that.
But you really get a sense of who they like. To me, Mamdani shined on the show, and I can't say that for a lot of your other guests. And he was himself. He was comfortable. He was smiling. There wasn't phony stuff. But I think you're able to cut through the phony stuff pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people at this point, you have to give them credit. Like they can see if you're kind of full of shit. I mean, even if Trump's saying like we should kill every, you know, immigrant, like there's an authenticity about it. I hate to say that, I mean, you could tell it's something that someone believes that they're saying. Even when he's lying, there's an authenticity about it, if you know what I'm saying. Like, the Democrats, I mean, are slowly adopting, uh, the internet as a means of as a legitimate platform. And I think that kind of probably would serve to benefit them tremendously, as you know, with what you've done. And you know, I don't know, Mamdani, for me personally, like, yeah, in talking to him, well, what we saw during the primary was in a Democratic primary, a Muslim candidate was being dubbed Osama bin Laden effectively, and he's from the Upper West Side. I mean, like, he's practically Jewish. Like, so it's seeing him in that context, right? Being genuinely himself. I think some of the worst guys I grew up with sent me texts afterwards that were like, while I still 100% disagree with his policies, he seems like a pretty chill guy. And I think it benefited the city that people, it was an ugly primary and it was an ugly general in New York, and it was racist the way this guy was being treated. And they were saying to him they have to be racist because for the Jews they have to say that he's going to do Sharia law, and we have to say this because this is what the Jews want. And it was, and for me as a Jewish person to watch that was pretty nauseating. So giving him 5 minutes to just talk about soccer, you could just see that he's just a guy around my age. Like he's not what they made him out to be. But every day during that primary, I think it was presented as something completely divorced from reality, and that happened for a large part within the context of the traditional news media. So I think that there are problems all around. For me personally, I just try to give someone an opportunity to be authentic and to have an interesting conversation. That I try where I try to ask questions that are not typically asked. So,
Adam, you have to come back. I love speaking with you, and I love your show.
My man.
I want everybody to go and check out the Adam Friedland Show on YouTube.
I
Wherever you get
appreciate
your
that.
audio podcast, go check out the Adam Friedland Show. He does some great interviews. Hilarious comedian and great interviewer as you forayed into the podcast space. But also, I know you do shows, and so everybody check out when you post that. Check out Adam Friedland.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Yeah.
And everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers.
6 million.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.